What if the future is nothing more than an illusion? What if all the fear, all the anxiety, and all the worry you've carried were based on something that doesn't even exist? This is the story of a man who spent his entire life chasing certainty, until a single conversation with a monk changed everything. Daichi stood at the edge of a vast landscape, his eyes fixed on the dark storm clouds gathering on the horizon. His chest felt heavy. Every day, his mind raced. What if my business fails? What if my family struggles? What if I make the wrong choice? He had spent his entire life preparing for every possible outcome, trying to control the unknown. But no matter how much he planned, the uncertainty never disappeared. One evening, he overheard travelers in a nearby village speaking of a monk, a man said to hold the secret to living without fear of the future. The thought stayed with him. Could such a thing even be possible? And so, on an impulse, he packed his belongings and set off to find this mysterious teacher. The journey was long, winding through forests and across rivers. But finally, after days of travel, Daichi arrived at a peaceful monastery high in the mountains. The moment he stepped through the temple gates, he spotted an old monk sitting beneath a tree, eyes half closed, as if he had been waiting for him. Daichi wasted no time. "Master, I have spent my entire life fearing what is to come. How do I stop worrying about the future?" The monk, Master Hoshin, opened his eyes and studied Daichi for a moment before giving a simple reply. "Come with me. I will show you." Confused, Daichi hesitated, but something in the monk's calm presence made him follow. His lesson was about to begin. Before we continue, let me ask you, do you ever feel trapped by thoughts about the future? Stay with me until the end, because this story might change the way you see time itself. If you're enjoying this story so far, please leave a like on this video. It's a small way to show your support and help others discover this content too. And if you're ready to explore more transformative stories like this, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. That way, you'll never miss a lesson that could change the way you live your life. The air was cool as Daichi followed Master Hoshin through the monastery gardens. The scent of pine and damp earth filled his lungs, but his mind was restless. "Master, please, just tell me the answer," he said, his impatience growing. Master Hoshin continued walking, showing no urgency. Finally, they stopped by a small river that ran through the temple grounds. The water was clear, reflecting the morning sun as it flowed over smooth stones. The monk turned to Daichi and handed him a wooden bucket. "Fill this with water." Daichi frowned but obeyed, lowering the bucket into the river and pulling it back up, heavy with water. "Now pour it here." The monk pointed to a patch of dry ground beside the river. Daichi hesitated. What kind of lesson was this? But again, he obeyed, pouring the water onto the dirt. The soil darkened as it absorbed the liquid, and in seconds, the water was gone. Master Hoshin nodded. Again, Daichi sighed but did as he was told. He filled the bucket, poured the water, and repeated the process. Once, twice, 10 times. His arms grew sore. The act felt pointless, never-ending. "Master," he said finally, breathing heavily, "why are we doing this?" Master Hoshin smiled. "Ah, now you understand." Daichi frowned. "Understand what?" The monk gestured toward the bucket. "Your worries are like this water. You fill your mind with them, over and over again, but they never stay. You pour them out into the world, yet they change nothing. Still, you keep filling the bucket." Daichi blinked, his hands tightening around the handle of the bucket. "But I have to think about the future. If I don't plan, how will I be prepared?" Master Hoshin nodded. "Preparation is useful, but worrying is filling a bucket that never stays full. It is an endless task that leads nowhere." Daichi fell silent. For years, he had believed that his constant thinking, planning, and predicting the future was a form of control. But now, watching the water disappear into the earth over and over again, he saw the truth. His worries never stopped, because he never stopped filling the bucket. Master Hoshin stood and gestured toward the monastery. "Come, tomorrow, we will continue your lesson." Daichi followed, but his mind was spinning. For the first time, He was beginning to question whether he had ever truly been in control. That night, as he lay in his quarters, he couldn't sleep. His entire life had been built on the idea that the more he thought about the future, the safer he would be. But what if that wasn't true? What if all the time he had spent worrying had only been keeping him trapped? The image of the bucket stayed in his mind. Filling, emptying forever. He closed his eyes, but the question lingered. If I stop filling the bucket, what happens next? The early morning mist clung to the monastery grounds as Daichi awoke, his thoughts still clouded from the lesson of the previous day. He had spent years believing that thinking about the future gave him control, but the bucket had shown him otherwise. Yet, a part of him still resisted the idea. If he didn't prepare for the worst, wouldn't he be caught off guard? Wouldn't he fail? Master Hoshin was waiting for him near the temple's meditation hall. The monk was standing in absolute stillness, eyes closed, as if listening to something Daichi could not hear. Daichi hesitated before stepping forward. Master, I still don't understand. Master Hoshin opened his eyes. Tell me, Daichi, when you look at the sky, do you control the clouds? Daichi frowned. No, of course not. And when you walk through the forest, do you tell the wind where to blow? No. Master Hoshin smiled. Yet, you believe that by thinking about the future, you can control what has not yet come. Daichi's shoulders stiffened. But if I don't prepare, if I don't think about what could go wrong, how will I be ready? The monk motioned for Daichi to follow. They walked in silence until they reached a small field on the temple grounds. There, in the center, was a large rock sitting on a wooden platform. Try to move this rock with your mind, the monk instructed. Daichi blinked. What? Try, Master Hoshin insisted. Feeling foolish, Daichi stared at the rock, focusing all his energy on making it move. Seconds passed. Nothing happened. Minutes passed. Still, the rock remained unmoved. His arms crossed, his jaw clenched. This was ridiculous. This is impossible. The monk nodded. Yes, and yet, this is how most people live their lives. Trying to move rocks with their thoughts. Trying to control the future with worry. Daichi opened his mouth, then closed it. He had no response. Master Hoshin bent down, placed his hands under the rock, and with one smooth motion lifted it. Do you see the difference? He asked. You cannot change something by thinking about it. You can only act in the present. Daichi felt something shift inside him. For the first time, he saw how much of his life had been spent trying to control things that could never be controlled. The future had never been in his hands. But the present was his. The realization was uncomfortable. If he truly accepted that the future was beyond his control, then what had all those years of worrying been for? Had he wasted all that time? Had his constant fear been nothing more than an illusion? Master Hoshin seemed to sense his discomfort. You have carried a heavy burden for many years, Daichi. But tell me, what happens when a man finally lets go of what he never needed to carry? The words struck deep. Daichi had no answer. Not yet. The sun hung low in the sky as Master Hoshin led Daichi to a quiet clearing near the monastery. A worn wooden bridge stretched across a small river, its planks creaking under their steps. The water below moved steadily, reflecting the shifting sky above. Master Hoshin stopped in the center of the bridge and gestured for Daichi to do the same. Tell me, Daichi, what is the heaviest thing you have ever carried? Daichi thought for a moment. He had carried bags of rice as a child, worked long hours hauling stone for construction, and once, he had helped carry his father's body to its final resting place. Grief, he finally answered. Losing my father. The monk nodded, as if he had expected this response. And yet you survived it. Daichi exhaled, his eyes fixed on the river below. I did. And what of the worries that never came true? Daichi looked up. What do you mean? Master Hoshin gestured to the water. How many times have you feared something that never actually happened? Daichi frowned, his mind drifting through the years. He had lost sleep over potential failures that never occurred, had suffered over imagined disasters that never came to pass. Many times. And what did all that fear achieve? Daichi didn't answer. Master Hoshin knelt and picked up a small stone from the bridge. He placed it in Daichi's hand. This stone is the past. It is everything that has already happened. Carry it for a moment. Daichi gripped the stone. It felt small, insignificant. The monk picked up another stone, slightly larger. And this is the future. All your worries, all your uncertainties. Carry this one too. Daichi held both stones, feeling their combined weight. Then, Master Hoshin handed him a third stone, larger than the others. And this, Daichi, is today, the only moment you truly have. Daichi's hands grew heavy, the stones pressing into his palms. Individually, none of them were too much, but together, their weight was undeniable. Now, the monk said softly, "Let go of the first stone." Daichi hesitated. Then, slowly, he opened his fingers, letting the smallest stone, the past, fall into the river. It made a soft splash before vanishing beneath the surface. And now the second. Daichi let the second stone, the future, drop as well. It disappeared just as easily. A strange lightness spread through his chest. For the first time, he held only the present, only what was real. Master Hoshin smiled. "What does it feel like to carry only what is truly yours?" Daichi looked down at the last stone in his hand. The weight of today. It was lighter than he had expected. Manageable. It feels possible. The monk nodded. That is the secret, Daichi. The future is not a weight you must carry. You are only responsible for this moment. Nothing more. Daichi closed his eyes, feeling the warmth of the sun on his skin, the steady rhythm of his own breath. For the first time in his life, he felt free. What if happiness was never something to find, but something you were meant to create? Ethan sat quietly in the temple's garden, the wooden bowl still in his hands. The water inside it reflected the morning sun, rippling gently with the breeze. Master Li sat beside him, watching in silence. "Tell me, Ethan, what are you thinking?" Ethan exhaled slowly. "That I've spent my whole life looking for happiness as if it was a destination. But happiness isn't a place, it's something we cultivate, moment by moment." The monk nodded, pleased. "The world teaches us to chase, to believe that happiness is something we must earn, achieve, or discover. But in truth, happiness is not lost. It is only unseen." Ethan looked up, meeting the monk's gaze. "Then why does it feel like so many of us are missing it?" Master Li smiled. "Because we are always looking ahead, never where we are." He pointed toward the temple grounds, where the monks were going about their morning routine, sweeping, laughing, tending to the garden. They weren't searching for happiness. They were living it. Ethan followed their movements, something inside him shifting. Happiness had never been in the next promotion, the next relationship, the next milestone. It had been here, in the small moments, the ones he had been too distracted to notice. He looked down at the bowl of water, watching the ripples settle into stillness. And for the first time in his life, his mind felt just as still. Master Li stood, placing a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "Now you are ready to return home." But Ethan smiled. "I think I already am. Antes de terminarmos, quiero te convidar para continuar explorando junto con mi gente. Se este video te trae algún aprendizado valioso, inscreve-se no canal para fazer parte de nossa comunidade. Se este conteúdo te ajudou ou te inspira, deixe o like. Uma forma simples de nos apoiar. E para garantir que você nunca perca video, ative o sininho de notificações. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for taking this step toward nurturing your mindset. Until next time, stay present, stay consistent, and remember, sometimes the smallest choices lead to the biggest transformations.